Yes. Okay, guys, we're on. Just want to make sure that you can hear me. I'm going to mute a few things over on this side, turn down the volume here so we don't have this echo. 2 in the room so far. Let me get Colin. I think Colin is here. Let me get him where he's up and available as well. I'm going to share screen number 2 and desktop number 2, and then share, and then you should see Colin on here. There you go. Should be in the corner. Hey CT, now that you're here, I'm gonna get it going. I may have to take this little thing off on the side where it has my picture up. Well, let me manage that. Okay, let's see. Video capture, main screen, display capture. Nope, not that. Not that. Yes. Not that. There you go. Alright, so you see me?
I see you.
Alright, so here we go, guys. Today, for the most part, looks like we don't have anybody in the chat. It's okay. We're going to continue with the webinar today. For the most part, we're continuing to push forward in our plan to launch the new chain, do the merge. All right, so that's someone else. Hi, Damon. We can hear you well. Great. So today, for the most part, we're going to turn it over to Colin to give an update. From my understanding, where we are in our development, we were able to just internally, were able to launch a test net. Had a couple nodes going with Lee, myself, and Lee. He's going to be with us for the next few months. Next couple months before he goes off to Carnegie Mellon. He's going to help us push some things out, at least get the platform launched out, in addition to interviewing a couple other folks in the community who said they want to be involved in development. So we were able to launch a very small testnet, Masternodes, but yet we haven't been able to integrate on a testnet just yet the IPFS for business. That's still within the plan as well. I would strongly encourage you guys, if you're in a position, as soon as possible, but we'll let you know as we come close to the August 15th date. Get over on the Xchainz platform, because that is the platform that will support the swap. So for the most part, we're in a position to support the swap for LGS, LPC into the new coin. What the new coin name is, I know I've heard some things from people in the community wanting to keep the LPC brand. I don't know if we're there just yet, but that will be a community decision. So that's all I have for the most part. Just letting you know, we have been able to launch a very small test net with the new blockchain, but yet we've been unable to integrate the IPFS portion at this point. But we'll keep you guys up to date as we get closer and closer to the swap, and it's going to be, once again, a 1-to-1 swap, LPC into the new coin, LGS into the new coin. So for example, if you have 1,000 LPC and you have 1,000 LGS, you will be receiving 2,000 of the new coin, a 1-to-1 swap from LPC, 1,000 LPC that you have for 1,000 of the new coin, and 1,000 of the LGS to 1,000 of the new coin. So any combination that you have of LPC, LGS, just take the sum, and that's going to be a 1-to-1 swap. So if you have 50,000 LPC, LGS, say 30,000, 20,000 LGS, LPC combination, then you get 50,000 of the new coin, and you still get to keep the LPC, LGS. So that's where we are on this swap there. So that's what I have for the most part. If there are some questions, some reasonable questions that we have in in the chat. I'll be able to answer those. If I don't have an answer right off the top of my head, I'll say I just don't know, and then I'll look it up. But here we are. Colin, if you have any other additional comments or suggestions at this point, just feel free.
Okay, so let me verify. You can hear me, correct?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I do want to give a few updates. You know, we're about 60 days out to the big day of the 15th, and behind the scenes, a lot of activity is in place. So I want to make sure that everybody's aware of what's in place. So if you're hearing this, it meant that you downloaded this or went to YouTube to watch the video. That also means that you want some information. So here's a lot of information about what's taking place behind the scenes. So one of the activities that we're really trying to, well, there are several activities we're trying to close out in the next 30 days, right? Get a few key important milestones for each activity completed, and then we have 30 days with a new team to get things ready for the launch. So the first thing we're doing is we're trying to identify and put in place what we call a management team, right? Management team are 5 or 6 individuals or 4 to 6 individuals who will help us to complete some very high level activities and own certain areas where their roles and responsibilities are very clear. For example, you guys know we have founders, co-founders. There's really no day-to-day role for co-founders. Damon will continue in the CEO role, and the CEO role, his role is to help develop our strategic direction, develop relationships, and ensure that all of the key leads are able to do their jobs. So the key roles: operations lead, marketing and sales lead, development, or what I call technical lead, right? These individuals, for example, if we talk about marketing, this individual will be responsible for helping to really build the brand of the new project, get that out to people, make sure we have strong content online. Technical lead, making sure that all things technical will be in the technical lead's sort of umbrella area of responsibility, and making sure that we have a strong product, we have information to our users on how to use the product, making sure that if there are any questions about technical questions about the product or how to use a wallet or what we need in the next iteration of the wallet, that'll be under the lead of under the direction of our technical lead. So one of the things that we found previously is we had a lot of the roles and responsibilities going through our 2 co-founders. We're now trying to make sure we bring people in that have experience to sort of own these particular areas. So when it comes to management, we're trying to have individuals in within the next 60 days, and this is 60 days, the next 30 days. And that's a very short time to get people on board, people you trust, people who can really start owning things from day one. But again, we only have 60 days left, so we hope to have some new individuals on the team within the next 30 days. The next activity is really ensuring that we have our merge swap and new chain. About our merge swap and new chain launch. This is the activity that will take place on and around August 15th. And the reason I say on and around is even though we sort of open a door on the 15th, it's going to take some people a few days to really understand how to do it and to complete their transactions. So what we're trying to do is make sure, again, about 30 days out of August 15th, we have put in place a lot of information on what to do to complete the merge swap, and also information about the new chain. In Discord, I think in Telegram, you guys are sending in a lot of ideas, a lot of information, a lot of questions about the launch. We want to make sure that we have consistent information available to answer all your questions. Not just answer questions, but to provide key information. We do plan to develop what I call a weekly pre-recorded, maybe like a 5-minute video. The 5-minute video that really shares what's taking place that week about the swap, or to answer any questions that you have launched. That will be separate from the webinar, right? These will be some content that we create that is strictly for the merge swap swap, and new chain launch. Again, we want to make sure that we have all the information you need available, both written and both audio, video. And the reason is we have people in our community that have different levels of English. Some want to read English, and some people just want to hear. They don't really want to read too much. So we'll have that set up as well. Also, and a big portion of what we're doing also is to make sure we have the new chain and our Xchainz platform details. As you all know, Xchainz, the parent company, the parent entity, I should say, for LPC, for LGS, we have a platform that's being developed. You guys know about this, XPay, Xcert, Xpose. If you don't know what these are, go into the announcements. Damon sent out a link a few weeks ago. Go to that link, look around, right? This is where our, you can say, our future customers will come to utilize our platform. So we want to make sure that this platform is built out strong, security. We want to make sure through the help of our marketing lead that we're touching on the right points. We're making a platform that's easy to use, easy to understand, and can really, a potential customer can read it and understand why they need to utilize our platforms. So again, making sure that we have a very strong site, very easy to download and use the wallet, very slick, a lot of information available. That's strictly speaking about the new chain and the Xchainz platform details. The last piece here, which is very interesting, is communications, right? Again, we want to make sure that we do have somebody who has some history maintaining communication, or has some experience, really developing best practices for managing communities and communicating. As you know, we have three platforms that we really utilize a lot. We have our Twitter account, we have our Telegram, and we have Discord. We're looking for Telegram and for Discord. We really are looking to clean up these areas and be more consistent on how we share information and more consistent on how we communicate with the community. So with that, last week, actually over the last 2 weeks, I've started to meet with individuals who have volunteered to be moderators in our channels. Now, one of the things that we're doing different is we're making a big push to, one, entrust our moderators, but to really understand who are the people that we're asking to help represent the company. The moderators represent the organization of the company, which means that we're getting more into the background. Moderators and verifying who they are, as opposed to just having let's say a Discord name. They're verifying their identities. This is very important because we want to be able to have more trust with our moderators. Our moderators are going to be the main communicators, right? The main support to the community. So about a week and a half ago, I started meeting with various individuals, and by this time next week, you will start to see some moderators in that role in our channel. Now, you should have already seen 1 or 2 moderators in there. And again, if you have an interest in being a moderator, if you are, I would say, an even-tempered person, if you can smile when others are smiling at you, but you can still maintain your cool and really look to help the community, reach out to me, right? We'll have a conversation. We'll see if there's something you can do. So that is about the communication. But we also have individuals who have stepped up and volunteered for technical support. So you will start seeing individuals now in a moderator role and individuals in a tech support role. So what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we ramp up support for the new project intelligently. We're not trying to do things, well, I should say that we've learned a lot from our project and a lot from observing other projects. We now want to use best practices to ensure that we're putting together the best structure we can, right? As you guys know, the stronger your base is, the stronger your structure is, right, the better your business will be. So those are the key activities that we're working on. Again, putting together a management team, so to speak, making sure that we have a lot of information about the merge, the swap, or the new chain launch, making sure that our new platform is strong. Again, we do not just want our owners to hold coin, right? We want individuals who are going to be using the coin for business purposes, right? We need to find some traction there. And then finally, making sure that our communication channels, our Twitters, our Discord, our Telegram, and quite frankly YouTube also, making sure that we have good management of those platforms, making sure that we have a plan for individuals who want to not have the best behavior of platforms also. So those are the key activities, 4 key things. I'll continue to give you guys updates. I think you guys have been very great in the new in our new channel. And any questions you have, as we're getting ramped up, we should get answers to you within about 24 to 48 hours. So continue to send in questions. And that is it. Back to you, Damon.
Yeah, so for the most part, Colin just gave a good summary in terms of where we are. So looking at some of the questions that we've had in the chat was about manufacturing ATMs. The actual physical production, even though it's the case that CoinLogic has done some physical production, there are some concerns about how we play a part in actually doing work with new ATMs. We're building out capability to support an ATM, the software of the ATM network. So everything about the security of the chain, the KYC, AML, the ability to add additional coins to ATMs. That's a focus where we really see where we have our niche and an area where we can complement the current partners that we have and not necessarily attempt to squeeze them out. So that case of being able to build out ATM software where it's easier to onboard additional coins or additional partners, that's a focus. Also, our heavier focus is more so in being able to support businesses with their projects, easily being able to integrate. The primary problem right now in terms of adoption within corporations is the integration of the technology. So right now we do not have a partnership with IBM at this point, Kobe. That's coming from Kobe Bryant. However, it is the case in order to get involved into the Microsoft ecosystem, or not Microsoft ecosystem, but the IBM ecosystem, you have to join within the IBM partner program. Lumina is a part of the IBM partner program. It's easy to join. It's the case I've done registration to be a bigger part of the program, but at different tiers you get different levels of support within Big Blue. So it's not something where it's out of reach. We just have to Xchainz would officially have to join into the IBM partner program. I was told LightPay.io will not be updated, and that Xchainz website is the only website. I don't know who you heard about. LightPay.io will not be updated. It's the case I do own the domain. John and his crew, they were maintaining the site, so perhaps he told you that. But once we do the launch, if we keep the LightPay coin brand, once again, the community will have to decide that. So the community will have to decide if we're keeping that brand or not. Some people say, hey, we should keep it. Some people say, hey, no, get rid of it, start fresh. But we're going to put that up to vote and then make that decision. If it is decided that we keep the brand, we're keeping the domain, and we'll update from there. So I like to be able to communicate with you guys on a regular basis, but unless it's coming from this official channel here, when you're asking, don't consider it final, because this is the primary area where we will disseminate information on a regular basis. So for the most part, that's what the update, what we have so far. We've been able to launch a testnet. We've been able to launch some nodes. We have not been able to get the IPFS for business integrated into the node. So you have the large data store in addition to the blockchain based transactions for the currency. So it's going to be the currency and a large data store. So if you're sending information and you're sending currency at the same time, it can be done on the same chain. But that does not prevent anything from like swaps if we are looking to integrate those at a certain point in time. But we do appreciate everyone coming in at this point, having a conversation with us, and being patient while we go through this process. I know a lot of folks, they don't want to go through this. Well, this doesn't take like 2 months to do a swap on the chain, but we have to do it the right way. Okay. So Dan, I know here's what I can say about the LightPay coin blockchain. It won't be updated. When Vlad was uncovered and kicked out of the community, he in essence did a lot of things where you could not necessarily maintain LPS and LPS and LGS chains, LPC and LGS chains, because everything from the sport keys, everything from the initial seed nodes, and he destroyed those. So it was really something that he was bitter on the way out. But if he was uncovered in being a scammer, and I think there are articles on that, of him scamming in other projects anonymously, and him getting kicked out of the community. One developer doesn't necessarily make the LPC or LGS community. So because we've kicked him out, he's done things where we're unable to maintain that chain. And I think as a consequence, some community members want to throw some blame on me. That's fine if you want to throw some blame on me for not carefully vetting individuals. But like I said, at the end of the day, one person doesn't necessarily stop the progression of the project. And at the same time, we live and we learn. So he could be. So he could be. He was one of the original devs in the project. So it's at the point now that the community made a vote to get rid of him because he was doing things outside of the community, and also within the LPC community that really kind of sent the community on a downward spiral. But now that we've actually gotten rid of him and we're rebuilding the team, I think we're on the right track. If he was a scammer, why was he partnered with us? I think that's the question coming from Kobe Bryant. When I initially came into the project had already launched, and he was the one who launched the project, but everyone was anonymous. Because everyone was anonymous, I wasn't comfortable with that, working with a set of team members who weren't anonymous. So as I think maybe the third or fourth week into the project, I said, hey, if I'm going to be a part of this team, and I think we're continuing this, the same statement and the same vision. If you're going to be a part of the team, it's the case that you have to show yourself. I'm not going to be involved in a project where I can't see people, I can't understand what your background is. So that's why I said, hey, everybody has to be on LinkedIn. Everybody has to show themselves. And I thought that would be a strong enough deterrent to keep people from doing things inside and outside of the community, because you'd be held accountable. But for Vlad, that wasn't necessarily the case. There was an article, I think, that was subsequently published that he did things inside the LPC, LGS communities, and then launched 2 more communities, but he might have been linked to about 6 to 10 other projects. So it's the case, because I came in, like I said, maybe 3 to 4 weeks into the project, I felt the need to have everyone show themselves. So LPC was accepted prior to your involvement. Yes, so like I mentioned before, it's about 3 to 4 weeks in. So I came in, I said, hey, I'll do some sales, I'll do some marketing, I'll help bring in some partnerships. So, and everybody was anonymous. So I was like, if the Masternode space is going to progress, I do think that we have to get out of this mode of being anonymous. We have to get out of this thing where it's cryptic, it's dark, like the Discord channel. It's very dark, very cryptic. For the most part, gamers like operating in the dark, and that's a social platform that they're used to using. But I don't think it's appropriate in the cryptocurrency space, an emerging industry that's trying to break into mainstream. So now it's in a position where we developed our LinkedIn page. So we're encouraging people to build their profiles, to come out of the dark, to come into the light. And I think if one thing, I think that's one of the benefits I believe in coming into this project, that we've made people a little bit more aware of what can happen and what can go bad if you're not able to really understand who you're working with. So,
and David, let me ask something when you get a chance.
Sure.
Okay, so as David said, part of the blockchain mania, part of the cryptocurrency mania, was the fact that you can do transactions and remain anonymous, right? That spilled over into projects trying to launch, whether it be a blockchain business, whether it be a cryptocurrency project. But part of that was, hey, I can have support a project and I can continue my anonymity, right? I can hide behind my online name, right? I can be Magic CT forever, right? And not have to really reveal who I am. But it also implies that we have a lot of trust there, right? And not just what we learned, what the industry has learned is there are a lot of people who don't even come close to being trustworthy. But there's no way to identify from somebody's online name who's trustworthy and who's not trustworthy. So let's be very, very clear, right? We are very good at learning from what we did yesterday. We are being very clear. We want everybody to understand that going forward, in this new project, there will be a high level of security. There will be more things that we require our Masternode owners and people who will represent the project to do. Again, I mentioned that we're going to be, I'm verifying ID. And if you are not willing to show some sort of government ID in your picture, then you are not going to support us in any way whatsoever. Doesn't matter how skilled you are. Also, we are looking to identify the best method for giving our Masternode owners weighted influence. If you own, let's say you own 50 Masternodes, you're going to have more influence than somebody who owns one Masternode. But it also means that because you have more influence, we need to know who you are. And this is the same thing that takes place if you want to go to a Coinbase, for example, and do some transactions there. You must follow. You must do not two-factor, but you must authenticate who you are. Right now, you have to jump through hoops and have a high level of more of your information available. We're going to be doing something very, very similar. So, if you are if you like hiding behind your name and your ID, this project going forward is not for you, because we will be doing a better job of making sure we know who we're working with and we know who we're giving that more influence to if you're a Masternode owner. But then I just wanted to add that because that's a very big lesson learned and a very big part of what we're doing in this new platform.
Yeah. So I do appreciate everything said, and thanks again, Colin. So as I mentioned earlier, Lee, he'll be helping us, and he will be continuing to help us before he leaves over and goes to Carnegie. He'll make sure that that we get the chain launched out, the wallets built out, answer all the initial questions that you have. In addition to, I'll be interviewing some of the individuals who have asked to start participating as devs. So we're going to go through that vetting process all again. So you got to be a stand-up set of folks. And once again, our blockchain, as we launch this time around, will have a heavy focus on business. We'll have, once again, the currency and a data store, a currency and a large data store built in using IPFS for Business. And we'll be compensating members. From the pre-mine and the new swap. So we're looking at, I think we're not getting anything over, say, 20% on the swap in order to maintain the project internally. So there will be I'm thinking 5 different groups with multi-sig authorizations on it, and then the funds will be distributed accordingly to the team. A certain amount will be locked up for a period of time. So I'm thinking around 1 year, but then there will be a sufficient amount to be able to support the team members within the organization. So they'll be supported with the new coin. So we've had several, I know there are about 4 people that I know that I've gone through the process of having the conversation with. Joseph Akinfalayo, Leatrick, which he's already doing some work on the team as well. And then there's another dev who approached a new dev wanting to be involved in the project, in addition to the folks from a survey that Den did as well, to be able to bring in people within the community. So, Vlad was never on a webinar. Okay, so that's where we are right now. I do appreciate your time. We're at 30 minutes. I think it's a good call. And if you have any questions, connect with me on LinkedIn. You can get to LinkedIn. You can get to me fastest on LinkedIn. So send out an invite. Then once you send an invite, I'll connect. And then at that point, I'll answer any questions, or you can contact me on the Xanthic, on the Discord channel, through Xchainz, or through Colin. We talk every day. So definitely appreciate your time, guys. Thanks a lot, and take care.